right, as we transition into the second team that is the Jacksonville Jaguars, here's a team. The Jaguars are poised to have that second overall pick. They've got one win. It was the first game of the season. They still have an outside shot at that first overall pick, but it looks like the Jets are going to have that number one overall pick, and that leaves the Jaguars here at number 2. And I don't think that's a bad thing because, yes, you'd love to get Trevor Lawrence, but you have the nice consolation pick of Justin Fields, who I think is one of the better quarterbacks that we've also seen coming out of the draft in the last several years. I like Justin Fields. I think he's right in there with Joe Brady. I think he's better than, the Sam Darnolds, the Baker Mayfields, those guys. I think Trevor Lawrence is right at that level. If Justin Fields is right at that level. If Trevor Lawrence wasn't in this draft, I think Justin Fields would be a slam dunk, no-brainer, number one overall pick. We wouldn't even think about it. And you're able to get him here at number 2. So both are elite prospects. If they get the number one overall pick or the second overall pick, I think they're fine. Now, if we look at the Jaguars moving forward, they're a team that's always consistently picking in the top 10, always seemingly picking in the top 5. They'll have some flashes, but they to me, are a team that still has a lot of room to go. And they've got some potential, They have 11 picks in the 2021 NFL Draft, 4 picks in the top 50. So you're having still a lot of draft capital. You got the Yannick Ngakoue trade got you a second round pick. So they have the ability to load up. They still have the Rams first round pick this year, so 2 first round picks again, 2 second round picks, and 2 early second round picks. That if you hit on those picks, you could really continue to add more talent to this team. And this team's got talent. James Robinson, a late round pick, is a guy that's really kind of established himself as their feature back, and he looks like a guy that can do that moving forward. Laviska Shenault was their second round pick. He really looks like he's able to take that next step and be a good complement to DJ Chark, who is their number one receiver. So they've got some talent on offense. They've got an offensive line that's solid, could still use some work, maybe add a left tackle, kick Cam Robinson into guard, but the line's functional, and we're learning in today's NFL you don't have to have an elite offensive line. We saw what the Seahawks have done. Other teams don't have this great offensive line, but you have a good quarterback, you have weapons, you can get the ball out quick. I wouldn't say the Chiefs have a dominant offensive line, and Patrick Mahomes hides a lot of those. So you get Justin Fields, you have some weapons. I think they have some pieces there on offense. Defensively, you got Josh Allen, who looks like a guy that can be a premier pass rusher. You got C.J. Henderson. They drafted K'Lavon Chaisson last year, another edge rusher. So they've got some pieces defensively, but once again, it is an offensive league. But the pauses that I have with the Jacksonville Jaguars is ownership. Do we honestly trust Shad Khan and his son Tony Khan to really do what is necessary to turn this franchise in the right direction? Do they even care to be a winning franchise? They own the Jaguars. They own, was it Fulham? In an English soccer team, do they really, is this just a business venture and they make all this money? They don't have to be good to make the money. Do they really care? And I say that because they continue to trot out David Caldwell as their general manager. Doug Marrone probably should have been fired a year or 2 ago. David Caldwell should have been fired a while ago. How many coaches has he hired that hasn't gone well? There doesn't seem to be any buzz going around about Doug Marrone getting fired. I was preparing for this, I was looking through, and I'm like, I just really feel I haven't heard any, we hear about Adam Gase, we hear about Anthony Lynn, we hear about some of these other coaches. You don't hear about the Jaguars firing Doug Marrone. And it seems that if there's any buzz about a coaching change in Jacksonville, it's about them moving on from defensive coordinator Todd Walsh. So now that they've been a year without Tom Coughlin, who they blamed a lot of their culture issues with, are they going to make the right decision? They if you look at the Jaguars, they should clean house, get a new general manager, get a new head coach, and and you got your quarterback and move forward. Kind of like you see what the Panthers did. The Panthers had a good coach in Ron Rivera, and they just said, hey, we got new ownership. We just need to clean house and build it in the way that they want it. I don't think the Jaguars are going to do that. I honestly think that Doug Marrone's going to be their coach in 2021. And if that's the case, I feel for Justin Fields. I feel for whoever they take at their quarterback, because I don't think they're going to be put in a situation to have success. And so much about quarterbacks having success in this league is fit. And as I said, do the Khans really care about winning? I mean, you look at what they've done. Shad's son, Tony Khan, is, getting more and more influence in this team, but is he spread too thin? He's the director of football operations for the Fulham Football Club. He's the president and CEO of All Elite Professional Wrestling, where he is heavily influenced. If you watch pro wrestling, you watch that he's heavily involved in storylines. He's very active in it. Most NFL franchises, they're, presidents of, the main owners, the main presidents of operations, they're involved and heavily influenced in the NFL. And it seems like he's out living a dream doing pro wrestling. He's involved over in Europe in soccer. It just, to me, seems like this is a franchise that it's owners that just, this is a business, and that's fine. It's their business, but I don't see them committed to winning. And because of that, I think we're going to see the same old Jaguars. And it stinks because they got a loyal fan base. They've got some talent. But to me, it just seems like they're not committed to winning like a lot of the teams in the league are. And that's why we continue to see them picking in the top 5 and the top 10 on a year in and year out basis.